So I would go around in La La Land for a couple of weeks, and I would stop home from washing cars and eat lunch, and there'd be somebody on the phone that wanted healed, and I was having a hard time because I always wanted to stay in the La La Land. Well, you can't wash cars, stay in La La Land. It was a lot of work. But the worst part is I've always had love and compassion to a certain degree, like everybody does. But it was so overwhelming that when I went up to somebody and offered to heal them, and they wouldn't let me do it, it was so painful. I would almost come to tears. I had the love and compassion was just overflowing, and I let me heal you, let me heal. I got to get the love out. I got to get the compassion out. It was very hard. And so I knew that if I was going to function, I was going to have to go into the suburbs of La La Land, not live in La La Land. So I'd bring myself down, and that's when I got to the point where my life wasn't a happy life. But what I would do is like the Rocky in the Over the Top, where he was arm wrestling. He said, "Well, I turned my head around. I'm an arm wrestler." Well, that's what I had to do. There was two of me. There's Larry the car washer, and there's Larry the healer. So when I would heal somebody, I had to basically like turn my head around. I'm Larry the healer, so I heal people, and then I go right back to being the car washer. So it took years and years to integrate to where they both could go together and not be, against each other like that, and to work together. And it was very frightening. I figured, well, it's going to be some kind of a nuclear explosion when I get the two together. So it was like, but it worked out all right, But that was some of the things that had gone on. Now, there's, just like I've experienced about every kind of psychological and physical pain you can think of in life, in a way, it's a blessing, because there's nobody that I meet that I can't recognize what their pain feels like. I mean, it's unless you've lived the pain, it's like watching a movie. You can watch a war movie and say, "Oh, boom, 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 the guys are falling down dead." You see that, but you don't feel it in real life, the pain that people would go through. And so I had the opportunity to feel all sorts of pain. Including suicide, suicide, all kinds of everything, and yelling at God. They say, curse God and die. When I was standing out in the thunderstorm, lightning, rain, cussed out God. All I did is got wet. So you can't really believe that, So I tried it. It didn't work. So there was, a lot of hard times. The weirdest thing was when I was in the Air Force, I'd come to my first base at Patrick, and I had my 59 Thunderbird, which I knew I couldn't afford. I had to drive it home. So I drove it home 24 hours, and we lived on a hill, the middle of a hill. So I get right to the middle of the hill, right to the driveway, brakes go to the floor. Pull the emergency brake, it don't work. So at 18 years old, you say, boy, this is weird. And it drifted down to the lane and up with its two houses where the lane ended. Years later, I realized that after all those millions and millions of inches of driving through Atlanta and Nashville and Chattanooga and all over the mountains, I should have been dead. And my brakes should have went out somewhere along the trip. But it didn't. It went right to my driveway where we said to go down. And then years, and years later, I had different experiences. I had where I gave a talk over for the Noetic Science over in Orlando. They wanted to hear about my healings and my flying saucer stories and stuff. And I don't like going out of town. It was one of my many phobias, was going out of town. And coming home, I'm looking for Sanford down here all lit up. I'm looking for the Lake Monroe, and because I want to see how close I am to home. Well, whatever, it took me 20 miles instantly, no missing time, to where it says DeLand, next 4 exits, just to show me, what they can do. And it's like when I was ordained, I just got ordained because I'd basically, it wasn't a spiritual thing. I just wanted to let the government ever bother me with my healing. Well, they decided it's more than just that. When I got home next morning, there was a little gold earring in front of my mailbox with a triangle and a circle. So I saved it, and so the 2 weeks later, I get the certificate, and that was their symbol on the certificate, was a triangle above the circle. And so I asked a psychic, I said, who put that there? He says, Michael did. I said, why? He says, you ask questions. And that's my whole thing was like every single day was visions and messages. And because I said, I don't want anything. When I quit being a Jehovah's Witness for all those years, I said, nothing but from God directly. I said, I don't want to play around no more, you know. And every day that's what happened. It was, you know, something with synchronicity or vision or something like that. And so I've had experienced so many, you know, whether it's remote viewing or seeing people on other planets or just about anything metaphysical. They showed me at least a taste of it, you know, and the messages, straight out messages, the answers I had to figure out for myself. Now, when I first started out, there was like you see in the air, you know, a message, and there's a voice that says, "As I walk tall through ages of thought, I find the answers I sought." Great. It's got about 16 different ways you can interpret that, you know. And me being logical, you know, I'd have to try to figure out what they're saying and what it means and everything, you know. And just like when I wanted to figure out what I was going to talk about today, I spent about 3 sleepless nights, hour after hour, going through my head, so many different things, and I'm saying, you know, I put them in different combinations and different things, and I try to want to get the message across of love and compassion and how everybody has it, but it's like sometimes like opening up a pop can with people, and you hear that fizzle. Well, it's a little love and compassion escaping, you know. They kept it bottled up inside so long, you know. And the peoples I've healed, I was at a guy's house. He called up and he wanted me to heal his wife. And he worked in a very high position in the government, and he's retired, but he worked under 5 presidents, and he had his pictures, all the 5 presidents. I said, okay. I said, I require a dozen roses and some Perrier. And so I get to his house, and he had the Perrier, but not the dozen roses, you know. And but the people that need help ranges from the highest people. They might be proudful people and whatever, but that has nothing to do with their pain and their hurt. They have a lot of emotions like we have, and they worry about things like us. I mean, recession for a rich person is a lot of times they will worry just like a poor person. Well, I found that out during the last few years. And but we're all connected, we're all people, we're all different things. The worst thing is, like I told one time, I used to go in ozone cars in DeLand, and I would stop at Wendy's after I put the machines in the car, take smoke out and stuff. I go down to the park and feed the homeless. So I stop at Wendy's, get a dozen cheeseburgers and fries. So I go down there one day, they're not there. Now we got a contract. The homeless got to be in the park to get my food, because that makes me say, what a nice guy I am. And it makes them happy because they get to eat. But I'm fulfilling my part of the contract. I'm there with the food, but they're not there. And so that's what sometimes it don't work out the way you want it all the time. But just remember that the littlest things we do on our soul is equal to the miracles that you see. It's just different. It's the same, and you get the same brownie points, you know. Same brownie points. That's the main thing. So anyway, About all I got to say for now.